All right.
Nice to meet you.
So, obviously this is our gym in the high school, and this is one of the areas where we have a lot of storage. The two rooms here, we share this room with community services, and then there's another side to that we have all our volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball equipment that we use when we're inside in the gym. And then over here on this side is where we store all of our track equipment. I'll talk a little bit about this later when we go back to the library. Some of the problems that we face, some of the challenges. Good news is it's a dry space 99.9% of the time. But it's accessible for the most part, but it does present a few challenges. So feel free to take a peek in there if you want. If you notice, that's in this room here is where we store all of our jumping mats and pits and.
So how do you get that out to the field?
Well, we get it during the indoor season, which is coming up soon. We pull them out daily and put them back in daily. It's a bit of a chore. And then in the springtime, we just bring everything out and it stays out. They have all weather covers. So in the springtime, it's not a hassle. In the winter, it's a hassle. But it's a tight storage. We can't store our hurdles, and things are outside, locked up against the fence, rather than being inside where they would last longer. And it's tight. If you don't put it in exactly the right way, it doesn't fit. And you have to be somewhat strong to get things up top. You have to throw pits above other pits and stack them. It's 22 feet deep.
So there's no exterior storage facility?
No.
For
Well, you're the strength coach, so
Yeah, I
that
know. Well, I figured that would match up pretty well.
Part of the workout?
Part of the workout. Okay, guys, we're gonna cool down with throwing the pits up.
One of the things we really try to focus on is making sure when we shut these doors, because there's equipment, there's shot puts, javelins, things like that. So locking it, somehow kids find a way. I don't know how they do it, but it's unbelievable how they can find
Somehow
ways
they get
into
it.
things. Basketballs in that one. But any questions?
I just wanted, there's going to be two major themes that we're talking about, right? I think one is storage, so that's why we're spending some time just pointing some things out and how spread out things are. The second thing is going to be definitely the fitness resources that are really limited. Those are the two major themes that we're going to be talking about.
And Sam and Aaron, feel free to chime in. I think you lived this firsthand, so your input is valuable. And if anyone has questions along the way, feel free to ask.
Jeff, all this equipment in here, this is part of the youth program too that we've got, right? Through community.
Yes, so that particular bay is shared with community services.
Yeah. So these little baskets for
Right,
all the
those
kids
come out
that
on Saturday morning.
start out at I think the 4th grade, and that's another thing that's part of the basketball program.
Right, this half of it is community services, and the other half is the varsity basketball stores.
Yeah.
All right. You guys have anything on this part of it? Aaron turns out all the volleyball equipment regularly.
Sure, and I coach volleyball. So that storage room through there is the PE storage room that's predominantly used just for PE. And it's a pretty good space. I don't have any keys right now. You're not gonna be able to get in there. It's because we're kind of, we've got 2 stationary bikes in there right now that we haven't really found a good spot for. So you're not gonna really be able to get in there, but it's jam-packed space because we're blessed to have as much equipment as we do. But it could definitely use some just update with being able to store things a little bit better. But this area, the laundry room, is pretty antiquated. And if you think about not just sports, but phys ed, the art department, the woods department, they all use this laundry room, and we only have 1 dryer that works and 2 washers that break all the time. the football team legitimately wash their uniforms as much as they should. It would take days.
The football team sends it out this year because
Yeah, exactly. So that's it. Yeah, and so it's just a really inefficient system in there. And then I don't have my keys. Do you want to see this one?
So Marie's the boosters paying for that?
Yes, $80 a week.
So you notice that
Here's
a lot
another
of the spaces
very small closet.
parking. They're not wide open, tall, easy access openings, which is a little challenging when you're moving big pieces of equipment.
So do you need more space or just better organized?
I think they go hand in hand. There's obviously some efficiency there, and I think also
So how do you get
the
in to
amount
get the
of space
trees
and
out?
That's
the
an
amount of
excellent
different
question.
locations.
You pull things out.
Yeah, you have to pull things out. Like right now, I mean, normally these aren't here right now, but the climbing stuff isn't here, and that's usually tucked away. But it is definitely, it's not easy in, easy out. It's you know, like I said, we're blessed to have as much great equipment we have and these options, but you know, Scott teaches an adventure class. Like, there's no room for that stuff. Like, his office becomes sort of the adventure storage room. We've got 2 stationary bikes that are in great working condition that we have, we don't really have anywhere to put them. So right now they're kind of stored in there, which is kind of, so we'll pull them out during the fitness unit, but they're not, really, I guess we could make that part of their fitness for the day, but, they're not really easy in, easy out. So
That's PE storage.
this is just the PE storage, and it goes in and through there. So it's a decent space, but it could definitely use.
And it looks pretty organized in there.
That's sweet of you to say.
I
mean,
the helmets are all.
No,
over
it
the
is actually
place.
pretty.
Yeah.
This is well organized.
The skis are all.
Yeah, all the bikes are in bike racks. The rack, it's as organized as we can get it right now.
Hard to get in and just get stuff out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely not the easiest space to work with, but you hate to complain about it, but I guess this is what everybody's reading.
Everybody should go look at this.
This is the point.
This is the point.
Yeah.
This is
It's the one working dryer.
it's brutal. It's brutal, we try to keep, the uniforms here so the kids can take them home and they never forget them, but it's really hard to, right now there's 2-3 fall sports going on and everybody's trying to do their laundry for the next match and it's really hard. Yeah. No, I collect them at the end of each match just because you can't imagine how many kids get on the bus and then you say, do you have your uniform? They're like, yep, and then we get to the place and oh no, I forgot it.
Well, and the money
And then you find they last a little bit longer
last
because you know how
longer.
they're getting washed and dried
the
and
money that is spent on the uniform.
yeah.
If you know that you're laundering now. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
But we lost laundry services at Southport and everything just broke down. I emailed all the parents, don't put this in the dryer, hang this out, do it like this. True, by Sam.
So Sam, you got the lead on this, Sam?
Yeah.
All right. Take us
All right.
away. Oh, wait till more people get
Yeah.
here.
I will. All right. This first room is Lisa Mim's office. She's our athletic trainer. I think a lot of times you'll end up with gets a little cramped in here if people need ankles taped or stuff. They'll be kind of lined up around here, and obviously Lisa does a great job, but it's definitely a little tough sometimes for her to work in there. But so that's her office, and this is sort of this.
This is the coach's locker room. There's 2 showers, there's 15, 20 lockers in there. We share it with the basketball officials or whoever. This is locker room.
What is that opposing team?
Which is locker room.
I'm sorry?
Who's locker room?
Coaches.
Right, so the basketball team, they would, you can have one of the routines during the basketball season where they go for a athlete break.
Football has 7 coaches, so it must be crowded.
Mm-hmm. It's true. This is just the coaches?
So when I see them staying on the side of the field, that's by their choice?
They
not
choose
because
that,
we
yeah,
don't
they
have-
choose to. A lot of people don't like that because it may take 5 minutes to get to the building and another 5 minutes to get back, so they try to use their time. Some people choose to use that. If it's nice out, I think a lot of teams will stay outside, but
And just the amount of, what is it, like 85–90% of the student body plays sports, so think about 90% of the student body coming down at the end of the day, trying to get into the locker rooms and get changed and get up to practice. It's,
yeah, so that's another challenge too, is the time of the day.
oh yeah, it's a huge nightmare.
One of the things too, with this space, at least this is the athletic trainer's room, it is the hallway to the boys' locker room.
So the girls have to come in here to go.
Yeah, they have to go into this area here. Right here, so.
It's not that bad, but I would just say like when you do have a lot of sports teams, all like having practice time around the same time of day, I've had to get my shins taped and like my knee wrapped before, and you just have to wait in like lines in order to see Lisa because there's just it's very small. But yeah.
And she'll have interns that will
Yeah.
be working with her that will help assisting, but it's the
It's
space.
very busy because
Yeah,
it's a
there might be,
space.
there might
Yeah.
be 10 or 15 kids in there total, or waiting to get taped up or something. And they have practice starting and it's 2:30. So it's a little, it's a wait, and they prioritize.
You want to show the actual locker room?
It will- well, we can, but I will show
Boys or girls?
This is the boys.
No, that's for girls. This is the boys' locker room.
Yeah, this is the boys' locker room.
What kind of shower do we have?
It's in there.
That is in the entrance to the pool.
There's like
Pool locker rooms.
6 maybe, and back in
There's
there.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the right?
That's a thrill.
This is the varsity locker room. So the varsity athletes, typically, this is a football locker room, if you want to call it that, but what it really is, there's 43 boys in this room at 2:30 getting dressed, putting on shoulder pads to go outside of it.
And it's only used for football.
No, it's used for all varsity sports. So the basketball team will be in here in the winter. In the spring it's lacrosse. But, the swim team has to use the locker room too. And they use the regular locker room. Track team uses the regular locker room. It's kind of, it's not really, in the wintertime anyway, there's some of the athletes, if they're a 3-season varsity athlete, they have a locker room here if they're a football player. It's not really equitable. They do. There's the swim team is a pretty large team, so they don't have their own lockers there. They can use those to change, but especially if there's a meet, then they're more apt to be in here. Our students are in here. Otherwise they have to walk through the hall to get to the pool in their Speedos, and they'd rather not.
So this is attached to the pool?
It is, yes, it is. There's a door right there that goes through. It's not open, it's open daily, right, in the winter time?
During after school. During
After
the school
school,
day
no.
now, but after school, yes.
So I'm sorry, I missed the beginning. This is where our team.
This is the varsity
changes.
team locker room. So when the football team comes down, there's 40 kids, 40 boys trying to get dressed in 15. I'm sorry.
We're on the other side.
You're on the other side, I haven't seen the other side yet.
And where is the girls' varsity locker room?
On the other side.
On the other side. And the locker rooms the PE locker rooms kind of mirror each other in terms of size.
Technically, this is a storage room,
Turned into a
but
room.
Yeah.
there
There's not
were
even
lockers
enough lockers
packed
for
up.
them all.
No,
This is only for football.
I'd say.
Football,
Varsity
cross,
sports.
and
Oh,
varsity
what is
athletes.
varsity?
So it's all varsity
What's the other?
for everybody else.
Gym class.
Gym class, I see.
So
Gym class,
basketball?
but also this is not big enough for all the varsity athletes, so
Right.
they have to use the regular locker rooms,
Yeah.
PE lockers as well.
Yeah.
Track team, for primarily the kids that are out there. Between the swim team and the track team, that's 140 kids, 130 kids.
So does this have showers down here?
No, the shower, the only showers are
They have to
in
go
the-
back into
they have to
there
go
for
back into
showers.
So this door is open at 2:30. We shut the door during the school day, but
Oh,
at
okay.
2:30, just because there are doors in the back as well that head outside. Easier to keep this door shut and locked as opposed to trying to keep track of everyone.
I was back in the other locker room.
That's the what?
underneath of it, but maybe you already addressed it. Are these lockers big enough to put helmets and pads and things in?
Now, that's why you'll see some of them don't have doors, because they were opened to fit some stuff inside. We do have some lockers that you can use to fit in there, it's just finding time to sell them. Personnel do it. That's our biggest obstacle right now.
No, after you stay behind that.
The mechanical systems designation for the lockers, for the space, for everything.
So if you want to talk a
Yeah,
little about
obviously the weight room. As more and more sports are realizing that weight training and the strength and conditioning become more integral to their to every sport, the need for this increases, and the safety becomes a real issue when you have more than maybe 4 or 5 kids in here. So, for instance, with my track team, I might have 20 sprinters, and so I can't fit my squad to do a weight program. I have to divide them into 2 or 3 groups, and then do different kinds of stuff in the hallways, which is an issue too, because we can't bring stuff in the hallways because of the fire issue. So we have to leave it in here, which means we can't have as many kids training as we'd like to train. Yep.
To go off of that, it's also really time consuming to break into groups because by the time the third group gets in here, the instructor or coach has to, reteach what drills you have to do and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. So it's just really time consuming.
It really is. If you could have a whole squad, up to say 10 or 12 kids doing the same thing at the same time, it would be a lot more efficient. You could really get a lot more training done.
And the math of this is that there's, in any given season, there's about 250 to 300 kids involved in a sport. And this is the fitness center that supports them.
all of them.
For all of them.
For all of them.
250 to 300.
Yeah.
And to
And
say
to
nothing
take
of
yeah.
in Sarah's role as PE teacher.
Does the PE program try to use this?
We try to use it, but it's, like Doug said, we have classes of 20, between 17 and 24 kids, and even having them in here just going over what the weight room is and how the machines work is just, it's not safe because you don't even feel like you can demonstrate anything or, and it's just really, it's just really inefficient. And to piggyback off what everybody else has said, you know, we're so lucky to have as many kids participate in so many things, and we have active PE classes that this just doesn't do it justice at all.
Also from a bunch of standpoints and perspectives from students that I've talked to, of course we're really grateful for the equipment that the school provides us. We just feel that we could definitely use some more machinery that could really help the athletes reach their full potential. It's super good.
Yeah, and just for pro football, we offered to buy some equipment, but it was basically like there isn't room for it. So we paid for the kids to go to an outside gym for some of their strength and conditioning this year, instead of being able to purchase equipment that other sports could use.
You see other Cape athletes also in other fitness centers around, but you know, that maybe their parents can afford it, some parents can't, but you see them at Snap and you see them at other fitness centers around doing what they probably don't have enough time and space to do in here.
And that's done by a fitness trainer that isn't necessarily connected with the school and may not be training them in the correct way for an athlete.
For
Reach their
specificity for a
potential.
sport. You know, if the kid's in mid-season, you know, there's some things you want them to focus on. You know, as the season goes on, you want more higher and higher quality. You worry less about absolute strength and more about power and speed. And if the trainer doesn't know that that's happening, I mean, there's a disconnect when they're not in the building and the coach can't come down and go, "This is your program. What are you doing?" You know, we don't have that.
Just to go off of that, I do have some friends who, and when they're in mid-season, they will go to a gym outside of the school to get the extra training that they can get because it's just not enough.
I think a lot of times there's like maybe like 4 or 5 guys that might, or again girls as well, that might come here like every day, and this isn't, and that's about all it's like enough for consistently. Like otherwise we'll have like, I know the lacrosse team comes in here before the season starts and we'll have 25 kids trying to work in this space, and there's not enough equipment or space, so we'll be all the way up and down the hallway, like going down the other hallways out there, and you'll still have to wait for equipment in here and you'll be waiting your turn. And it's just not efficient. I think it would get a lot more like consistent use. I think even guys that are more likely to go somewhere else out of season might love to be able to just come back to the school or stay at the school at the end of the day if there was what they needed here, and the space that they needed.
Not to mention, it's not safe to have all the kids
Right.
I was
working
just
out in
gonna
the
say that,
hallway.
especially
Yeah.
going down that hallway. I mean, that's an exit out to the parking lot. There's kids coming
Yeah.
to go to the swimming pool. I mean, there's parents coming in for games.
Makeshift too, you know, and we're in the lobby and then there's, we can't be in there when there's a basketball game going on or, you know, because there's no other place to train. And floors too, you can see from the weights, you really can't do this on a tile floor. So the weights you can't even move them out unless you put a pad underneath it, which is not the intended use of the yoga pads or the mats.
Right.
And as soon as you start hitting those with weights, they get
Start ripping.
Yep.
So have you looked at spaces and have like all the dimensions you need and all the equipment you need, or like what is optimal in terms of their potential, but also for safety and for health of the athletes? Do you know, around the state, like the new schools that have been built, you know, and/or around the nation, how we stack up, you know, like our dimensions and our equipment overlay to what's optimal?
I haven't done it. I mean, I know what colleges have and what
Yeah.
you know, in Texas what the facilities are, but as far as the Northeast. Yeah.
So I would say our comparables, like Yarmouth and Falmouth, maybe a quarter of the size to what they have now.
This is a quarter of the size of theirs.
Yes.
They have newer schools.
Yarmouth has a recently renovated, which they're also renovating again. And Falmouth is fairly new.
It's
Remember that last renovation of Falmouth High School was, which maybe 5
5 years ago.
The Yarmouth one is about their fitness area. It's not just away from the fitness area. It's about the size of their gym.
And that's another direction where schools are heading. It's not just weight equipment like this, studio space for things like yoga or stretching, also aerobic, plyometric.
It's like, like the TRX bands,
It's all
kettlebells,
bands.
just more.
It's as it's evolved, it's less machines, and the machines are more for therapeutic use. It's perfect right next to Lisa's room, but as we get the sport evolves, or the training evolves, that we see more kettlebells and more free weights and working the long muscles of the back rather than isolation, where it's for rehab. So
Yeah,
you need more room when you have free weights.
Yeah, our volleyball team trained all season and we barely used any machines. But it was pretty scattered and we were all over the place. And
We have a strength and conditioning coach, and the focus is on conditioning because there can't be a lot of strength work. It's all body work.
Yeah, it's all
We have some weighted medicine balls, bouncing balls. That's part of it, but you can only do so much. If you're really trying to increase strength, you need something. You need the lifts.
Erin just had one quick thing before
Yeah,
she leaves.
so as far as the girls' locker room goes, we definitely have more showers than the boys, but I think a challenge with that locker room is that at the end of the school day, a bunch of teams are in there and it's very compact, so much so that for the girls' volleyball team, for us to get ready, we actually invade Beckel's office and bathroom and take up that space as well. It's just a very compact space when we're all in there. I'd say it's
How many teams? We've got cross-country, field hockey,
soccer,
volleyball, varsity, and junior.
Right, I was gonna say,
and first team.
And
first team.
We got 3 teams in soccer, 3 teams in volleyball,
golf, yeah.
cross country.
It can be overwhelming
Yeah.
sometimes.
And so, like we said earlier, some of the fall sports will, just go right to the field because it's nice out, it's easy because you don't need to come in. But winter sports and spring sports, the weather's not that great early on, so they're not hanging out outside. They're coming into the locker rooms, and it is very crowded. And those lockers, 3/4 of them don't work.
Can I ask one more question about, do you have statistics or do you keep any kind of metrics on injuries related to the lack of strength
That's a really
training?
tough call. It's a pretty gray area. You say you try not to have kids do things they can't do, but I think it would be really hard to make that correlation or causation anyway. It would be hard to make that call. And so I don't think we have any stats, but it's clearly shown in literature that if they're not training to their posture and stability muscles, their long muscles in the back and their core, and they're not doing that, they're more prone to injury. And we're seeing a lot more with girls now too, because they're starting to require more athleticism in their sports.
So this is a nice room for women's faculty, and it's great. But there's usually 2 big whiteboards, there's always something in here because it doesn't fit somewhere else, or the garages don't lock well, so kids are getting into it and stuff like that too. So. Oh boy, should have tidied up.
This is the girl.
This is the women's. Yeah, so the girls' locker room is this.
the coaches.
All
Female coaches. Thinking, wow, we really don't have any all women's coaches in some of them.
Well, I think probably like the one on the other side where they're visiting officials.
PE golf, female PE classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's.
And, you know, it also gets used because we don't have two big lockers. Like when football teams have home games, this is used as the visitors' locker room. These lockers, I can't tell you how many times they break or they're stuck or they get jammed. I think they're just really, really old. We are lucky to have pretty good shower stalls. We replaced all the shower curtains, but there's no like adapted, you know, like no handicap benches or anything. I don't think there's any in the men's room, so that, you know, we have many students that take PE that can't take a shower if they wanted to because you just don't have the needs. But this is relatively, I mean, it could use a lot of love, but it's for fall, winter, spring, sports, and fall heating.
So they have this similar to that, the boys, except they don't have that other wall. Or do they?
Yeah, there's another room. One of the things that we find too, with this particular floor, this tile, it's hard to clean.
Yeah, it never looks clean.
I'm not sure, I think they may have to steam clean it, but that's a pretty detailed process and time consuming. But if there was something in addition to stalls and numbers and things like that, that floor, I think would be help with the cleanliness. But for that space, it's, you know, give credit to the PE teachers and our custodians and our students for taking care of it. It's a pretty tight space, over 100 girls, 115 girls, 120 girls, and same on the boys' side each season, just in the afternoon. That doesn't include daytime
Well,
traffic.
throughout the entire day, PE1 and PE2 classes, there's probably 125 girls that come through here every day.
There's only 2 sinks too.
Yeah.
And no outlets, so girls can't dry their hair or anything.
No, I know it's a big problem.
Do we issue gym lockers?
We do. So these are for students, but like I said, you know, like they're so old, like they don't, half the time, like they don't open, or they'll open once and then they're stuck because like something's jammed, and I mean they're just really old, and so kids stop using them, which is a real shame because, you know, we're blessed to be in part of Cape Elizabeth, but you know things get stolen or borrowed, and so kids stop locking them up because they're like, I can't get into my locker. It never works. Or
Well, my question was around space too, because if you're an old, like if you're a junior or senior, you're not likely to even be issued a gym locker.
right.
So is there space for you to bring your athletic?
Yeah, a lot of kids, like these long ones are considered varsity lockers. So if a student wants one and they're a varsity player, we'll issue them one. Sometimes I'll have like 3 kids share one so they can put their bags in. But a lot of times kids will just throw their bags right in the door right when we walked in. They'll just plop them there for the end of the day. Or they'll just, you'll see like, you know, if you come in here at the end of the first period, there's gym bags everywhere. So yeah, there's nowhere. It'd be nice if they could just like throw them on tops or off the floor.
Jeff, is there sufficient facility for the coaches on both ends and women's?
Both ends. We saw those as we walked into this part. The size is, you know, it's fortunately in season. It doesn't entail. I'd say the winter it's probably the most congested. Fall and spring it's not too bad, but definitely winter is when you're going to have more because of the hours. People are in there from right after school till 9 o'clock at night for practices. So obviously I think there's just going to be more people.
So there's 2 more showers over there.
So this is the second part of this locker room.
And is this open on a regular basis?
But we never ever come in here.
So this is not open?
So
This is not.
after school, a lot of like some girls
The thing like
So they use this as their space.
before they don't leave anything in
But
there.
again, this is another room that we keep locked until after school. This one may have been, it's a little more open. compared to some of the other.
And so are lockers issued in here?
No. PE
You can
doesn't
get-
ever use it.
You can, I don't even think there are lockers on, locks on. No locks on.
So nobody uses this room?
Well, I think,
After school.
after school, like the women's soccer team used this one, winter men's basketball uses it, right? And I think that's pretty much it. Sometimes football,
Yeah, it's just like an extra
it's kind of like a
extra space if.
Can I ask a quick question?
Oh,
Knowing that it hasn't been ADA compliant in the showers, why was that never budgeted for in the years that you've had these locker rooms? To put in seats in the showers for handicapped kids?
yeah. We've had a couple, like just like the ones that you kind of get at CVS that we've slid in there, but they tend to.
No, I'm
walk
saying,
or-
but like just have a fold down bench.
Oh, right,
Why
yeah.
was that
Well, there
never-
were some in there when I first started here, but they were really old and had to be removed, and I don't know why they haven't been.
Jessica?
Yeah, just
Clarification, this locker room is for different girls than the other locker room. That was just PE, and this is just varsity. I was a little confused.
This is an auxiliary,
It's
like an
auxiliary.
extra, it's men's and
So
women's
after s-
sometimes.
So
Not
like
like
girls,
the same-
varsity soccer team will use this.
You don't want to pass that around.
No, I meant like different
After, like in
seasons.
the
Okay.
afternoons. So after school,
So
this is like this is another, similar to that room in the boys, that big space that was dark, same thing.
so this is
It's an
generic for whenever you need it, kind of thing.
How do you schedule so the girls and the guys don't end up here?
Well, usually like women's soccer, like for.
If one team's home, the other one's open.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So this might be the away boys soccer locker room when
We use
when the
it
girls are
for
away.
our,
Oh,
this is our lock, this is what we use for all our soccer games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the
This is where
girls
they
use it
meet.
when they're home.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
go to the field as a team.
Okay.
Yeah, football's in the other.
Does that answer?
Girls soccer, does, they meet here and then sort of a tradition. I think they have their little pep talk and then head out.
Jeff, clearly the shower facilities are not adequate, but do the kids stick around to shower or do they typically head out?
I think after sports games, not that often. I remember after gym class, I would. You know, you get to go to class late, but it's also it's nice to be able to use the showers after gym. Exactly. No, yeah, I definitely use them after gym class and stuff. I think occasionally, I know the lacrosse team, once we started getting back into that locker room, we would use them after practice sometimes, but I think mainly it's probably gym class. But they don't get as much use as they probably could.
Yeah, the girls use it just same thing as the boys, and usually after phys ed class. And they shower, like when we're in the pool for kayaking or swimming, they shower every day after that, so. Yeah. Yeah.